the way you want to sit on the block is either a block or a pillow or a book. The pillow has to be quite firm. You want to sit yourself, so half of your bum is on the block and the sitting bones are right at the edge of the block, and then you can roll yourself forward so half of the bum ends up on the front, okay? You're crossing your legs in front of you, and now it's just a comfortable position, okay? We're just warming up. So, we're gonna do the warm up from seated. So we want to basically lock 3 areas of the bandhas, or so 3 areas of the core muscles, so that basically your spine is upright at all times. And today we're gonna work on the lower back. So if any of you has got any injuries on the lower back, make sure that you don't overdo it. And whatever pose you're doing it so that you're feeling the stretch but not the pain, okay? So, start with the pelvic floor. You're basically trying to clench your bum hole, so try to keep it squeezed and keep it closed so that you're closing up this pelvic floor area. And then you're helping it out, trying to bring the belly button towards the spine. So you're sort of feeling this nipping and tucking up of this lower part of the abdomen. And then you're concentrating on the chest and the throat area. So you're opening the chest and you're tucking the chin under, so your spine feels nice and upright. Place your hands on your knees or on your legs, wherever they are comfortable on the back, on the legs. And then you're starting to familiarize yourself with engaging the core muscles and sitting upright. But at the same time, we're gonna add now the breath. So you're breathing through the nose only, and you're lengthening the breath, so it's the same length on the inhale as it is on the exhale. So I give you the pace, and then you decide if that's okay, or if you want to go a lot longer or shorter. So start inhaling 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Just do that for a couple of breaths. You're trying to bring your breath to a nice and steady pace, and you're trying to aim to have 6 breaths per minute. This has got an effect on your vagus nerve, which in turn will also relax the entire body. The vagus nerve is a nerve that starts from the neck, goes all the way around the body and innervates all the organs, and is part of the parasympathetic system. So it's the opposite of the fight and flight. With the nice and long breaths, you're able to basically activate and relax the vagus nerve. One more breath. Inhale into the count of 5. Exhale into the count of 5. And now interlace the fingers in front of you. Straighten the arms. On the next inhale, you're pushing the hands away from you, and exhale, you're bringing your hands up towards the ceiling. Now watch what happens to your belly. So suck the belly in, still working on the core muscles, rolling the shoulders away from you. So you don't want to be here. You want to squeeze the shoulder blades together, keeping the arms as straight as you can, sucking the belly in so the core is nice and strong. And then on the next inhale, you're keeping your right hand up towards the ceiling, left hand down towards the floor. On the next inhale, you're lengthening the right side, and exhale, bending the left elbow. You're leaning onto your left side, looking down towards your right armpit. So you're trying to really firm and ground to the sitting bone to the block. At the same time, you're keeping your right arm as straight as you can, so you can really stretch the right side of the body. And then on the next inhale, come back to the center, right hand by the block, left hand up towards the ceiling. Inhale, suck the belly in, lengthen the spine, stretch the left side. Exhale, bending the right elbow. You're leaning towards your right, looking down towards your left armpit. And inhale, come back to the center. Right hand behind you, left hand over the right knee. Inhale, suck the belly in, lengthen the spine, and then using your arm on the exhale, you're twisting towards your right. So you're not leaning on your arm, you're using your arms to twist towards your right, chin parallel to the floor, and you're looking towards your right shoulder. On the inhale, you're lengthening the spine. On the exhale, you're turning towards your right. And inhale, come back to the center. Exhale, left hand behind you, right hand over the left knee. Inhale, suck the belly in, lengthen the spine. Exhale, twist towards your left. Chin parallel to the floor, and you're looking towards your left shoulder. Make sure the core muscle is engaged at all times. On the inhale, you're lengthening the spine. On the exhale, using your arms, you're turning towards your left. And inhale, come back to the center. Let go of the block. Place it somewhere in the front because you're going to need it later on. Come on your fours. So you're on your hands and knees. The hands are directly underneath the shoulders. The knees are directly underneath your hips. And they are hip width apart. The hands are shoulder width apart. You're on a tabletop now. The top of your feet are on the mat. We're going to do the cat and camel now. Keeping the arms straight, keeping the legs where they are. On the next inhale, you're looking forward, curve the back towards the floor, you're pushing your bum out. On the exhale, you're starting to push the bum towards your hands, engaging the abdominals, curving the back towards the ceiling, looking down towards the floor. Inhale, look forward, curve the back towards the floor, push the bum out. Exhale, curve the back towards the ceiling, push the bum towards your hands, look down towards your knees. Last one. Inhale, look forward, curve the back towards the floor, push the bum out, you're relaxing the belly here. On the exhale, you're curving the back towards the ceiling, push the bum towards your hands, contracting the abdominals, looking down towards your knees. And then on the next inhale, you're coming back into a tabletop. We're wagging the tail, okay? So we're trying to bring the bum towards your right shoulder and then the bum towards the left shoulder. So you're wagging the tail like a dog, okay? This opens up the lower part of your back. If you're finding that this is painful, just do a slower movement, okay? And not so much of a range. So get it to the point where you're feeling a little bit of stretch but no pain. And then come back into a neutral. On the next inhale, you're tucking the toes under. And on the exhale, you're pushing the bum up towards the ceiling, looking down towards your feet. And on the next inhale, you're bending the right knee, transferring the weight onto the left leg. On the exhale, you're bending the left knee, transferring the weight onto the right. Looking down towards your feet so your neck is nice and long. On the inhale, you do one leg. On the exhale, you do the other leg. Don't rush. You're trying to create enough time so that you're starting to affect the fascia. Couple of more here. And then on the next inhale, you're looking towards your hands, bending the knees. You're starting to walk your feet towards your hands. Once you've reached the hands, keep your feet hip width apart. Grab hold of the opposite elbow. Inhale, look forward, lengthen the spine, bend the knees. Exhale, you're folding forward. So you want to rest the torso on your thighs and you want to let go of the head. Once you've done that and you feel comfortable, then you can start straightening the legs if you want to. Otherwise, you're just opening up your lower back. On the next inhale, start nodding your head a couple of times, making sure you're letting go of the head. And then turn the head right and left. And then very gently start bringing your body towards the right leg and towards the left, still letting go of the head. So you're trying to point the top of the head down towards the floor. On the next inhale, come back to the center, Place your hands on the mat, bend the knees if they were straight, tuck your chin under, and you're coming up into a standing position, head last to come up. Okay, so we're scheduled for half an hour, but sometimes it gives us a bit more minutes. So I'll try to finish the class in half an hour and then we just add some more minutes until it just shuts off, okay? So if the video completely shuts off after 35-40 minutes, this means that it's just finished, okay? So we're coming to the top of the mat and we're going to do Tadasana, or the mountain pose. Feet together. Now, well, just stand there and start scanning the body and feel where your body weight sits when you're standing. I tend to be on the front, so I sit on my hips. So I always have to push the weight back. So you're aiming to bring the body weight into the middle of your feet. So you're not too much on the front, neither on the back. Once you're there, you start engaging the thighs. So you're pulling the kneecaps up. Now you're tilting your pelvis under. So you're doing this movement here, where you're bringing your tailbone under and you're engaging your lower part of the pelvic abdomen. Suck the belly in, open the chest, tuck the chin under. So we're basically repeating the same as when we were doing the core muscles. Hands by your sides with the fingers pointing down towards the floor, active, and you're looking just beyond your nose. Now notice how your core muscle is engaged. As you're tucking the pelvis under, you're already also closing the anal sphincter. It's quite important because you want to have this energy moving from the front to the back of the spine. So the energy moves from here and it comes up the spine and it meets at the bridge of your nose. So point the tongue just behind the front teeth. So the tip of your tongue is touching the palate just behind the teeth, and you're really squeezing the abdominals and closing the anal sphincter. Place your hands in front of your chest, close your eyes for a second, and you're setting an intention for today's practice to do your best to just concentrate on the breath. So you really want to lengthen the breath, allowing yourself to relax as much as you can. These are stressful times, so if you, in half an hour you manage to just relax your body and your mind, you'll achieve a lot. Okay, now open your eyes. We're going to do 2 sun salutations today. We're going to focus on the lower back, okay? The first one we're going to do together at a beginner's level, and then I'm going to go 1 notch up for everybody else if you want to. On the next inhale, you're bringing your hands up towards the ceiling. Look up at the hands. You're sucking the belly in. On the exhale, you're folding forward at the hips. So you don't want to curve here. You want to push your bum out. Bring your hands on the shin, the ankle or the mat. On the next inhale, press through the hands, look forward, lengthen the spine. You're engaging the core again. Exhale, bend the knees. Hands on the mat. Step the right leg out into a lunge. Left leg to meet it into a high plank. On the next inhale, we're setting the plank. You're on your tiptoes, you're pushing your heels away from you, pull the kneecaps up, squeeze the glutes, suck the belly in, squeeze the shoulder blades together. Exhale, knees to the floor. Leading with the chest, you're bringing your chest down to the floor, rubbing the elbows by your rib cage. Top of the feet on the mat. Hands underneath the shoulders. On the next inhale, lift the chest off the floor, you're looking forward, roll the shoulders away from you. Exhale, tuck your toes under, come into your hands and knees. Bring the seat towards your heels and you're coming up into a downward dog. Stepping your feet forward slightly so that you try to bring the heels down towards the floor. You're looking down towards your feet so your neck is nice and long. We're concentrating on the lower back, okay? So if you need to have your knees bent and you need to raise the heels off the floor, that's absolutely fine. You're trying to push the bum up towards the ceiling though, okay? Now feet hip width apart. The aim is to have your heels down towards the floor and the legs as straight as you can. In and into the count of 5. Exhale into the count of 5. And then on the next inhale, you're looking towards your hands, bending the knees, you're starting to walk your feet towards your hands. Once you've reached the hands, keep your feet together. Exhale, you're folding forward. Inhale, come up a little bit, engage the core. Bring your hands up towards the ceiling and exhale, hands by your sides. Second one. If you find that difficult and that's your level, just do that level. Otherwise, I'm gonna go up one level, okay? Inhale, bring your hands up towards the ceiling. Exhale, you're folding forward. Inhale, press through the hands, look forward. Exhale, hands on the mat, add a step or jump into a high plank. Inhale, set the plank. Exhale, now you're gonna either do a low plank where you're hovering off the floor, or you're doing the knees to the floor like the first one. And then from here, you can push your hands, your body through the hands, coming up this time into an up dog. So the arms are straight, you're rolling your shoulders away from you, looking forward. Exhale, tuck your toes under, downward dog. Set your feet as you did on the first one. Now you're paying attention onto your torso, hands as wide as the shoulders, wrists in line with the top of the mat. Roll your shoulders away from you, squeeze the shoulder blades together. You're pushing your hands away from you, so you're trying to bring the torso towards the thighs. Suck the belly in, so you're really engaging the lower part of your abdominal, and if you feel like you're really overarching, tuck your tailbone under, so you're protecting your lower back. Inhale into the count of 5, exhale into the count of 5. On the next inhale, you're looking forward, and this time you can add a step or jump to the top of the mat. If you want to jump, you're on your tiptoes, you're bending the knees, looking where you want to land, and squeezing the thighs together on the inhale, you're jumping to the top of the mat. Exhale, you're folding forward. Inhale, engage the core, bring your hands up towards the ceiling, and exhale, hands by your sides. Okay? So we're gonna do a couple of poses standing, and then we're gonna do some lying down and some sitting, all towards the lower back, okay? Feet together, hands on the waist. On the next inhale, you're stepping the right foot 2/3 of the mat. Right toes are pointing towards the top right corner of the mat. So you've got a 45-degree angle with the right foot. We're gonna do the triangle pose, which we did last week as well. Last week we focused on the shoulder. This time we're focusing on the lower back. So on the next inhale, bring your hands parallel to the floor, pull the kneecaps up so the leg stays straight. Exhale, you're leaning towards the front leg. You're placing your hands either on the shin or on the inside of the ankle, bringing your right hand up towards the ceiling. Now, let's focus on the back. On the next inhale, pull the kneecaps up, making sure the legs are engaged. Suck the belly in, lengthen the left side of the body, so the left part of the body that is facing the mat, and lengthening that side. You're now turning the torso towards your right, making sure you're still engaging the core muscle. You're looking at the straight ahead or towards your right hand. Inhale into the count of 5, so you don't have to come down all that much. You can also sort of place your hands on the shin, and you want to feel a stretch on your right lower part of the back. On the inhale, you're lengthening the spine. On the exhale, you're turning towards your right. One more breath here. And then on the next inhale, you're looking down towards the floor. Exhale, bring your hands parallel to the floor. Inhale, hands on the hips, and exhale, you're turning the feet over. And on the next inhale, bring your hands parallel to the floor. Exhale, you're leaning forward, placing your hands on the shin or on the inside of the ankle. Pull the kneecaps up, lengthening the right side of the body, turning the torso towards your left, looking up towards your left hand. Inhale into the count of 5. Exhale into the count of 5. So make sure you're feeling your core muscle engaged by sucking the belly in, feeling that stretch onto your left side of your lower back. One long last breath here. Inhale into the count of 5. Exhale into the count of 5. On the next inhale, look down towards the floor. Exhale, bring your hands parallel to the floor. Inhale, hands on the hips. Exhale, you're turning towards the front of the mat again, and you're stepping to the front of the mat. Start with, we're gonna do warrior 2 now. Start with the feet hip width apart. You're stepping with the right foot, quite a long stance, and you want to have a space between the front and the back foot. So you don't want to have your feet like so. You want to have a space between the back and the front foot so you've got stability. Now the front leg is bent. We're doing the lunge first. So the front leg is bent. You're on the tiptoes of the right foot, the heel is off the floor. You're keeping your leg as straight as you can, hands on the hips. Now you're sitting in between the legs, okay? So you're really starting to stretch the front of your right hip, which is the iliopsoas, which is a muscle that starts from the back and comes all the way across the front. Hands on the hips. On the next inhale, you're bringing your hands up towards the ceiling, roll the shoulders away from you, look forward. Suck the belly in. If you want to have more stretch, you're looking up towards the hands and you're also bending further your front leg, keeping your right leg as straight as you can by pushing that heel away from you. One more breath here. Inhaling to the count of 5. Exhaling to the count of 5. And then on the next inhale, you're placing your hands on the hips. And exhale, bend the front leg even further. Inhale, straighten the front leg. Exhale, bend. Inhale, straighten the front leg. Exhale, bend. Last one. Inhale, straighten the front leg. Exhale, bend all the way down. So you're bringing your right knee down towards the floor. Make sure the knee doesn't go over your ankle. If it does, just step your front foot forward a little bit. Now we're stretching again this front of the iliopsoas and the front of the right hip. Hands on the hips. If you want to use a pillow underneath your knee, just use that. And then on the next inhale, bring your hands up towards the ceiling, pushing your hips forward. So you're really feeling the stretch here, but also on your lower back. Inhaling to the count of 5. Exhaling to the count of 5. And then on the next inhale, bring your hands on the hips. Now tuck your toes under if it wasn't tucked. Lift that leg off the floor and you're stepping to the front of the mat. We're gonna do it on the other side. Feet hip width apart. Hands on the hips. You're stepping with the left foot. Oops. Ooh. I'm falling. 2/3 of the mat. And the front leg is straight. The front leg is bent. You're on the tiptoes of the left leg. You're pushing the heel away from you. So you're really straightening the left leg. If you want extra stretch, you're bringing your hands up towards the ceiling. If you want even more stretch, you're looking up towards the ceiling. So you should suck the belly in and make sure that you're feeling that little stretch, not only on your lower back, but also on the front of your left hip. If you're not, you need to push that leg away from you so you're really straightening the left leg. And then on the next inhale, bring your hands on the hips. Exhale, bend the front leg. Inhale, straighten the front leg. Exhale, bend. Inhale, straighten. Keeping that left leg straight. Exhale, bend. One more. Inhale, straighten. Exhale, bend all the way down, bringing your left knee down towards the floor. Adjust the front leg because as you're pushing forward, you still want to have the knee underneath the ankle, not over the toes, okay? And now choose whichever version you want to do. If you're already feeling the stretch on your left hip for like this, stay here. Otherwise, you can bring your arms up towards the ceiling, really pushing your hips forward so you're feeling that stretch onto your left front hip. Inhale into the count of 5. Exhaling to the count of 5. And then on the next inhale, bring your hands on the hips, tuck your toes under, lift the left leg off the floor, step into the front of the mat. Give yourself a little bit of a shake. Okay, so we're gonna do warrior one. So you start with the feet hip width apart, you step into the front of the mat, you step in your right foot, quite a long stance. So for me it has to be almost the whole of the mat. Basically what you want to do, you want to end up with the thigh parallel to the floor eventually, okay? So that's the stance you have to take. The toes of the right foot are turning towards the top right corner of the mat. You should be able to square the hips towards me, okay? If you can't, you need to step that right foot out a little bit. And then bend the front leg, suck the belly in on the inhale, open the chest, and exhale, you're bringing your hands up towards the ceiling. You're either looking straight ahead or towards your hands. Roll your shoulders away from you, feeling a stretch onto your lower side of your right back. We're not going to do too much here, so inhaling to the count of 5, exhaling to the count of 5. And then on the next inhale, bring your hands on the hips. We're going to pivot to the other side of the mat, okay? So you're turning your left foot over, turning the right foot over. You need to adjust the stance so that the left foot is out. So you're squaring your hips towards me. On the next inhale, turn the toes towards your top left corner, bend the front knee, so you still want to see the big toes. So the knee doesn't come in, you're guiding it out. And then on the next inhale, suck the belly in, sit in between the two legs, bring your hands up towards the ceiling, looking up towards the ceiling. Make sure you're sucking the belly in on the inhale, and then you're allowing a relaxation onto the lower part of the back, especially the left lower back. Inhaling to the count of 5, exhaling to the count of 5. The more you bend the front leg, the more stretch you're getting. And then on the next inhale, bring your hands on the hips, straighten the front leg, just step into the front of the mat. We're gonna come on the floor. First you're coming on your knees, and then you're lying yourself onto the mat, okay? Top of the feet on the mat, hands directly underneath the shoulders. We're gonna do the cobra here. So you should be able to rest your forearm onto the floor. If the hands have to be slightly forward from the shoulder, then do so. Okay, now we're gonna lift the chest off the floor. If you want to bring your elbows now underneath the shoulders, do so. You're looking forward, roll the shoulders away from you. So you're really squeezing the shoulder blades together, looking forward. The first one, we're gonna relax the belly. And then with your breath, inhaling to the count of 5, exhaling to the count of 5. Just concentrate on the lower back, the part that is getting stretched as you're doing this movement, and keeping the integrity of the pose. So you're really trying to squeeze, push the chest forward, so you're not staying here. So you're not here, but you're coming up, okay? On the next inhale, come down onto the floor. Come into your hands and knees, and you're coming into a child pose. Out of the child pose, you're coming back down onto the floor. You're placing, now this time directly the elbows underneath the shoulders, palms on the floor, top of the feet on the mat. You're pushing your chest forward. This time you're engaging the front of your abdominals. So you're sucking the belly in, pushing the chest forward, rolling the shoulders away from you. And now relax the belly. See what changes when you're engaging the front of your abdominals. Now suck the belly in, engage the abdominals. Some people can find a bit more flexibility as they're engaging the abdominals. And exhale, relax Bring your hands underneath the shoulders, tuck your toes under, come into your hands and knees, and you're coming into child pose. So the top of the feet are on the mat, you're sitting on your heels, arms are forward, and you're relaxing the forehead down onto the floor. Really relaxing your lower back, breathing into the lower back. And then on the next inhale, start walking your hands back into the center so that you're sitting on your heels, and then shift your bum either side of the feet so that you can bring your legs forward. This is when you might need the block again, or the pillow or the book. You can put it underneath your bum. So you're basically trying to have your legs straight with the toes pointing up towards the ceiling. We're doing the staff pose. If you're struggling to sit upright by keeping your legs straight, use the block underneath you. Hands either side of the bum, fingers pointing towards the toes, rolling your elbows away from you, sucking the belly in, bending the elbows slightly so you're not bringing the shoulders up. You're working on the core muscles. So again, you're working on these three areas of the core muscles. So you're squeezing your bum hole, sucking the belly in, opening the chest, tucking the chin under. You're looking beyond your toes. Inhaling to the count of 5. Exhaling to the count of 5. On the next inhale, bring your hands up towards the ceiling, suck the belly in. You're keeping your core muscle engaged as you're folding forward at the hips. Once you feel like your lower abdominals are starting to go, then relax the hands wherever they're comfortable on the legs. Tuck your chin under so your neck is nice and long. And then on the next inhale, suck the belly in, engage the core. On the exhale, pulling on your hands, you're trying to actively bring the body towards the legs. If you're quite low down, you can also lock the hands behind your feet, folding forward. Otherwise, you just keep on looking at the toes, but you're really engaging the core muscle, pointing the toes up towards the ceiling. And then on the next inhale, come all the way up. You're placing your hands a hand breadth away from your bum. The fingers are pointing up towards the ceiling. The fingers are pointing towards the toes. You're bending the knees so that the feet are on the floor. And now we're going to push the bum up towards the ceiling. So on the next inhale, push the hips up towards the ceiling. You're looking down towards your knees. Squeeze the glutes. 3, 2, and 1. And you're bringing your bum down towards the floor. And now make sure that you're coming into the middle of the mat. Bend the knees, feet on the mat. Place your hands in front of your knees. Roll yourself onto your back, hugging the knees to the chest. We're going to do the bridge pose. So we're bringing our feet as close as we can towards the hips. So you should be having your feet very close to the hips, and you should be able to touch some part of the feet. Have your feet hip-width apart. Big toes are slightly tucked in. And then press your hands down towards the floor. This is the last pose we're going to do, okay? On the next inhale, tuck your pelvis under so you're pushing the hips off the floor, tucking the pelvis under, sucking the belly in, and then pushing the hips up towards the ceiling. Once you're up, you can interlace the fingers behind your back, shuffle to the top of your shoulder, pushing your hips up, making sure the knees don't come out to the side. They're pointing towards the opposite side of you, and they're parallel to each other. You're looking down towards your belly, squeezing the glutes together. And then on the next inhale, release the hands. Press the hands down towards the floor and bring your back down towards the floor. Hugging the knees to the chest. You're staying here for 1 or 2 breaths, and then we're going to repeat what we've just done. So you're placing your hands down onto you're placing your feet down onto the mat. Feet are hip width apart, big toes are slightly tucked in. Press your hands down onto the mat. On the next inhale, tuck your pelvis under, suck the belly in, and then pushing your hips up towards the ceiling. You can interlace the fingers behind your back, chin to chest, so you're not over extending your neck. Shuffle to the top of your shoulders. Push your hips up. 3, squeeze the glutes. 2, tuck your pelvis under. And 1, release the hands. Bring your bum down towards the floor, hugging the knees to the chest. Let's see if we can squeeze one more pose. So you're keeping your right knee hugged. Extend the left leg down towards the floor. Now you're grabbing hold of the back of the right thigh with your hands, extending the right leg up towards the ceiling. Your toes are pointing towards your body. You're tucking your chin under. You want to have your leg as straight as you can. If it's like that, it's absolutely fine. Now, on the next inhale, you lift the head off the floor, pointing the toes up towards the ceiling. On the exhale, you're pointing the toes towards the mat, releasing the head down towards the floor. Inhale, point the toes up, lift the head up. Exhale, point the toes towards the mat, release the head down. And you're going to do it 1 or 2 more times. So this is called flossing, and basically you are flossing the spinal cord into the spine, so that basically if it's stuck anywhere, it can start undoing itself. And then bend the knee, release the leg. You're straightening the right leg on the mat, hugging the left knee towards your chest. Hands on the back of the thigh, straighten the left leg. Point the toes towards the mat, tuck your chin under. On the next inhale, point the toes up, lift the head up. Exhale, point the toes towards the mat, releasing the head. Inhale, point the toes up, lift the head up. Exhale, point the toes towards the mat, releasing the head down. So we keep on doing this flossing a couple of times more. We're going to run out of time, and then you just carry on with the relaxation part of the video that I've sent you on the link. Point the toes up, lift the head up, point the toes towards the floor, releasing the head down. And then bend the knees, hug the knees to the chest,